He wants to destroy everything KSI has created.
Okay, first off, what is this? The moment I saw this guy bouncing around in the ring, I just knew that he was scared. That's the first thing that came into my mind. I was like, he was scared. And then when the ref, said fight, he ceded the center of the ring to Tommy Fury and went to the corner to start bouncing around like, a baby doll with battery in it. I was like, what the hell is this guy doing? Look at him standing in the corner, bouncing around, like waiting to land a haymaker, almost like Deontay Wilder, That thing caught me by surprise because I thought he talked all that stuff going into this fight, like he was going to show he was the man and he was going to show that he was worthy. Only to go into the ring and immediately the fight starts, you're already running to the corner to go and wait for the guys. Like, what exactly are these guys even doing? Now, of course, I would not blame Tommy Fury for taking this fight. This fight is going to make his name bigger because KSI's name is obviously bigger. And Tommy Fury comes into this fight as, part of the Fury legacy per se. But he's supposed to be this professional fighter. And so far in the two fights between him and Jake and him and KSI, I've not seen anything in Tommy that tells me that he's a professional fighter. Maybe he grew up in a fighting family, but that's just about it. There's nothing about him or the way he fights that suggests that he can hang with the professional guys.
On his part,
he's just somewhere in between these crossover boxers or rather somewhere in between these misfits guys and then the professionals. He's a little bit better than them, but he's really not on that level professionally. One time KSI caught him clean, he had to back off a little bit and then everybody got on their feet thinking, man, KSI is probably going to take him out. But then KSI ended up hugging more than punching, or rather both of them ended up hugging more than punching. But Tommy Fury seemed to me like the more willing fighter, the guy that was willing to press the action. The ref had to hold him back a couple more times, and even when the ref was holding him back, if you watch closely, KSI was not even trying to get at him. KSI was still waiting for the ref to leave Tommy so that Tommy can come to meet him in the corner where he was still bouncing around, And that to me did not spell like, he was really ready coming into this fight. He looked very, very nervous in the beginning, and then even in the middle rounds, like I said, there was more hugging than punching. I was surprised by the CompuBox stats that showed that they only connected about 35 to 30 punches in this entire fight. That's in terms of power punches, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. It surprised me at first to see that, but then I was like, yes, that makes a lot of sense. Anyway, moving on, this fight was eventually declared a unanimous win in Tommy Fury's favor, with KSI's team coming out to say that, it was a robbery. And then John Fury, Tommy Fury's father, said the fight could have gone either way, meaning that these two guys were crap for the most of the fight. Let me just use that word for lack of a better word, right? Moving on, DILLION DANIS versus Logan Paul. After everything DILLION DANIS has done to humiliate, whiplash, tongue lash, demolish, assault, and batter Jake Paul's, or rather Logan Paul's image on Twitter, this was an opportunity for DILLION DANIS to put the exclamation mark on everything he has been doing to Logan so far. But then, as it turned out, he was in way above his head. It was his first time in the boxing ring, granted, but still, he didn't put in as much effort as I expected he would, at least up to the level of maybe someone like a Nate Diaz, or what's the other guy's name? Tyron Woodley, right? He did not live up to even that expectation. But in his defense, he also did not get knocked down like any of them, especially Tyron Woodley. He did not get knocked spark out like Tyron Woodley, right? So, okay, maybe I can say okay to that, right? But then again, after all you said on Twitter, you were going to make him your bitch, you were going to do a lot of things and all that. And then even on Logan's part too. I mean, this guy has assaulted, humiliated, lambasted, exposed, made fun of, caricatured, cajoled, or whatever word you want to use. He has done it to you and your fiancé. He has made you guys the object of ridicule. He has made you guys the object of mini red pill podcasts. This was your opportunity to prove once and for all that you were the man. You should have put him in the dirt. You should have put him in the dirt. End of story. No questions asked. Exclamation mark. End. But now, as it stands, DILLION DANIS even has a longer career in boxing. Yes, I said it. He has a longer career in boxing. As it stands today, all he needs to do is go and find something dirty on Jake Paul or on KSI, and he will have another big fight. Okay, there is a lot of money to be made from this fight. That's the gospel truth you have to accept. Even if you're a fight fan that hates all these crossover fights from all these YouTubers, there is a lot of money that's on the table, okay, for these guys to make. And if DILLION DANIS can find a way to put himself back in the conversation or the contention for more fights by going the same route of humiliating someone else, then that person will take it upon themselves to say that since Logan Paul couldn't knock him out, I'll be the one to do it. And I know that Jake Paul's ego is big enough to make that type of statement or to have that type of sentiment. Same applies to KSI. They would want to knock DILLION DANIS out so that they can have one up on Logan Paul. That is the gospel truth. So Logan Paul has inevitably given DILLION DANIS a long lifespan as far as crossover boxing is concerned. Until somebody puts DILLION DANIS in the dirt, he is winning so far, regardless of what the result of the fight was. Everybody expected Logan Paul to beat him. No questions asked, end of story, right? But then, Logan Paul did, but not in the spectacular fashion we all thought it would end in. Jake Paul put Tyron Woodley in the dirt. Jake Paul put Nate Diaz in the dirt. So we expected Logan Paul to put DILLION DANIS in the dirt. After all, he went, toe to toe with Mayweather. At least if you ask him, he landed punches on Floyd Mayweather, who's supposed to be this best fighter of all time or the best ever, right? So DILLION DANIS is supposed to be like small food for you, small chops. But then you gave him a longer lifespan in boxing, as far as I'm concerned. So, man, like I said, DILLION DANIS comes out of this entire fight night as the winner, because he can brag from now till tomorrow that Logan Paul never knocked him out, and so he can do whatever he wants. He's now left to someone else within the circle of Jake, Logan, and KSI to decide that they want a fight with this guy, and it's also left to DILLION to find something dirty on those guys and promote it. And then that person is going to take it upon themselves to want to put him in the dirt or want to knock him the F out like Logan Paul failed to do. So DILLION DANIS comes out of this fight the winner. And that's the end of the story. So let me know what you think in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe.